I burned myself. It happens every time. I can't escape it. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Allie. If you're new here, hello. If you're returning, welcome back. I appreciate you. Thanks for not being sick of me yet. This looks a little different, I'm aware. Basically, I wanted to do a bookish DIY craft with you guys. I'm a crafty person. I always have been. Art's always been a big part of my life. My mom's super creative. I do digital art on the side. It's just something I'm interested in. And I was going to be doing this regardless. So I figured, in case this is anything any of you guys are also interested in, or do want to try on your own, I figured I'd share it with you. Today, I'm going to be making a gilded book cage for my Plated Prisoner series. If you don't know what the series is, this is a King Midas retelling, but instead of King Midas having powers, he captures this girl, Arin, who is the one that creates gold for him, and she's just straight up a human made out of gold. And he keeps her in this cage in the castle so that she can't run away and all that. I was inspired by like this fan art that I saw online when my mother presented me with this little cage. She had been using it to like put like succulents and stuff in, but they all died and she didn't want it anymore, so she didn't know if for some reason this is something I wanted. I immediately looked at this and I was like, this looks like a cage from Plated Prisoner. I could totally make a gilded book cage out of this. That's where my mom took me, so that's what we're gonna do. This is already spray painted. It's technically a metallic gold, but I don't know if it shows up on camera very well, but it's more of like a bronzy color, and I really want it to be more gold, so I'm going to be re-spray painting it. Hopefully this shows up a little bit more gold. I'm going to pop like a little supplies list on the side over here, so if this is something you're interested in doing, you guys can gather it up and try it on yourself. So something like this, you could find at like an AC Moore, a Michael's, or honestly check thrift stores. I feel like thrift stores always have weird little thingies like this. This just like perfectly fits my books in it, so I could either do them up and down, or like to the side or straight. I haven't figured out exactly how I want them in here, if I want them to stand straight up, or if I want to do them more on the side. I'll figure that out later. Find a cage that can fit your books wherever you can find them. Obviously I have my books, spray paint, whatever shade you want to do it. I have rulers, I have scissors, hot glue gun, my big old spoolie box full of ribbons. Arin has what she calls her ribbons, little like magical ribbons that hang off her back. So my idea was, when these books are inside the cage, I'm gonna have a piece of cardstock kind of like either inside the pages of the books or in between them, and I'm gonna have ribbons attached to them, and then have the ribbons wrapping around the cage in a way. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully this actually works out at the end, because I don't plan this ahead of time in any way. If this turns out okay, you'll be seeing this. If it doesn't turn out, I won't post it. So the first step is basically going to be re-spray painting this, so let's go do that. I'm outside to spray paint this, and I made the rookie mistake of not wearing boots in New York snow, so this would be fun. I should have worn gloves, my hands are freezing. Welcome to New York winters. I'm gonna do probably another coat. I'm gonna let this dry. Let's go back inside, I'm freezing. I'm done. And we're back. So it's the next day. This is our final product. I don't know how well it turns up on camera, but it's definitely a lot more gold than what we started with. There's a little bit of spots that I missed, but that's fine because we will just work our ribbon around it. My ribbon is not necessarily the same shade of gold. It's fine. I'm not upset about it at all. So now that we have this spray painted, it's dry, we will move on to our next step. Okay, so basically what we're going to do next is take a piece of cardstock, or you can use like the thin pieces of cardboard. Any paper that's thicker than just like a normal printer paper. We're going to be gluing ribbons to pieces of this, so if you use just normal paper, it's going to be too flimsy and it's not going to hold. So what I'm going to do is cut a piece of paper that's got to be small enough to either sandwich in between two books or inside the pages of it. We just got to cut a piece of cardstock down to fit these books. I'm just gonna lay this in the corner and get to cutting. This is about the size I did, just small enough that I can go in between or inside. Now that that's done, we're going to be moving on to our ribbons. The ribbons and the cardstock are going to be going together. So the plan in my head, Aaron in the book has 12 ribbons, so I want to do 12 ribbons so that it's accurate. So my plan is to glue some directly to the floor of this cage and then glue some to this cardstock. Glue them around like 2 of the sides so that when it's in the book, the ribbons will look like they're coming out the top and the side. Glue some to the bottom of the cage itself, and then we'll just have one side where nothing is coming from because you can't shove it through a solid object. But my reasoning for that is, I would assume that at some point me or you would want to remove your books from this cage. So if you put this in here and you glue this top sides and to the ground, and if you attach ribbons to the top, you're never going to be able to open this and get books out. So if you attach some to the floor itself and just sides and top to this, you'll be able to lift this out and open this up enough to be able to get your books back out and read them. We're gonna start, basically take a general measurement of whatever your cage is. So mine is about 7 inches wide, about 10 inches long. I am going to measure out some ribbon. I want these to be long enough where they can kind of like hang and flow. I'm probably gonna do each of these ribbons about a foot. I think that should be enough. So I'm going to cut 12 1-foot pieces of ribbon. The ribbon that I'm using is just yellow satin, and this is a 1/2 inch width. I was trying to decide between a 1/2 inch and an inch. I felt like they would just like look too big proportionally, so I got a 1/2 inch. But again, it's art. It's up to your interpretation. Look at these measured out. My ribbon fell on the floor and unwound, but that seems like a post-video me problem. Okay, so now we have our 12 about foot long ribbons. So I have my handy dandy hot glue gun all warmed up and ready to go. So we have 12 of these. We're gonna do 6 glued to the bottom of the cage itself and then 6 on our cardstock piece. Use hot glue with caution. Be careful not to burn yourself, even though I guarantee you I will while I'm doing this. So I'm basically going to be gluing them across like the top and a side, because the bottom, they're going to be on the cage itself, and then one of these sides is going to be in a book. And plus, like, I don't want them to like be in the way of like reading the books, like the sides of the books. I'm just going to do it like across the top and down the side. And then plus, while measuring these two, don't worry if your ribbons look too long, because we're going to wrap them and weave them through the bars, and then anything extra we'll just cut off once we're happy with how everything's placed. Okay, I lied to you. I ended up doing 8 on the cardstock itself. I have like 4 on the side and 4 on the top. So basically, when you sandwich them between the books, it'll look like this. And it'll look like Aaron's ribbons coming out between the books. So the rest of these I'm going to glue to the floor of the cage itself. I think I'm going to stack mine up and down in here so that I'll have a book on each side, so that it will be like even in between 2 books. We're making do with 2, but we're going to pretend how it would look with all 4. This is basically the vibe we're going for, is just having these in between, and I'm going to glue the rest onto the floor to make it look like they're coming out from the bottom. So now we have these glued to the floor like this, and then the books will set on top of them so you won't see any of like the glue or anything. So now that those are in, all we're gonna do now is get our books set in and then just kind of arrange these and run them through the wires in whatever way looks aesthetically pleasing to you. I'm gonna have these two pretty much centered over the center where these ones are glued on the bottom. So basically when I put this in, I just have to imagine that this is straight in the center, and then just leave enough slack that the books are going to be able to squish into this. I think that I'm just going to attach like the top ones to this top bar and not the lid itself, so that I can still get this open if I need to. Glue strings. I love hot glue, but I hate the little strings they make. They get attached to everything. Blech. so we are all placed. It looks messy right now. I promise it'll look a little better once we get the books in. Some of them, I used all of the length. Some of these are a little long and I want to cut them off the rest of the way. And I lied to you again. I did attach some to the top. I just made sure I was opening and closing it as I was doing it to make sure there was enough slack that this paper could move so that I could still open it to be able to get stuff out. I'm gonna trim these down and then we're gonna place our books and we're pretty much gonna be done. Okay, so now taking our books, sandwiching our card in the center. They're gonna tip over because it's too much space. We have our gilded book cage, and I think it's really cute, and I thought it turned out really nice. Insert aesthetic Beeble here. So yeah, this has been our DIY Lady Prisoner Gilded Book Cage. I really enjoyed doing this. This is something that I personally really enjoy. If this is something you guys also enjoyed and want to see more of, let me know and I will gladly do more bookish, crafty DIY stuff with you. I have other ideas for stuff like this, or if there's something where you want to see a specific book, feel free to leave that in the comments. I appreciate you guys for liking me, being interested in me and my opinions, and wanting to be my friend. It means a lot to me and I very much appreciate you guys. That was super sappy. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I very much appreciate you. If you would like to follow me anywhere else on my social medias, they will all be linked in the description box down below, as well as on my home screen channel banner. Also linked will be my Amazon wishlist if you guys want to send me any books. I'll do some unboxings for you guys. But yeah, I love and appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Please stay safe. I guess that's about it. I'll see you guys somewhere else on the internet. Bye.